Hi there, I'm Marty Owings. Today I'll demonstrate how to make some handmade holiday greeting cards using these Strathmore blanks. Strathmore isn't sponsoring this video and I purchased everything you'll see today myself. I just happen to have a lot of experience with these and they never disappoint. These come in a package that contains 6 cards and includes the envelopes. They cost just under $5 US and you can find them almost anywhere that carries art supplies. I recommend Wet Paint Art Store. You can find them online at Wet Paint Art. This video isn't sponsored by Wet Paint. I just happen to think they're the greatest art store in the world. Strathmore makes a whole line of these types of blank cards, including mixed media, canvas, Bristol, and others. You can go online and find that yourself. They make them in white, toned, and black papers, which is cool. I really like the 400 series watercolor and mixed media cards because they feel really substantial at 140 pound 300 GSM, and they'll handle all kinds of mixed media really well. So it's the holiday season, so my theme will be mostly Christmas related. And this year, I'll share a few Christmas poems to help get you into the spirit. Holly is a good go-to if you want to draw sort of a Christmassy or holiday related card. One of the things is the berries are always generally bright red, and you have to pick a good strong red for that. And then maybe a couple of different greens. If you want to get really elaborate, you can mix some greens together to get the right color. But right here on this particular card, I'm just using an emerald green mixed with, believe it or not, a little olive green, and that seems to do the job okay. I'm trying to get the leaves, not perfectly realistic. I don't want to render every shadow and bright spot on these leaves, but it's just good to have that available if you wanted to do it, if you wanted to get that detailed. But in the shadow part, the darker leaf here, I'm using a little Payne's gray mixed with the green paints that I already mixed for the regular leaves. So that's pretty much it. Just have a strong red for the berries. They really need to pop. I also use a little bit of white gouache here to add just the slightest highlight where the light hits the berries. And that's pretty much all you need to do. Use a little pencil work here to give it a little definition around the edges. And then I used a little Payne's gray all by itself for the cast shadow for the plant. And this is the first holly. I'll do another holly plant here on a greeting card, and then I let that dry, flip it over, and then fill out the card inside. So yeah, that's it. Now this is a little Santa that I had a few years ago. I bought some, those Target packs of little greeting cards you get, and I really liked one of them had this little nice little Santa on it, and I thought that was kind of cool, so I decided to kind of recreate it. I thought he came out okay, although it does look a little bit like he's got a black eye. Poor Santa. Every year I try to hand make a few greeting cards. I think it's nice to add a personal touch, and it's different from, making a Facebook post or posting something on Instagram wishing everybody a happy holidays. I just think that a handmade card with a handwritten note in it is a much more personal way to communicate your season greetings to folks. Of course, everybody has their own preference for how they want to communicate season's greetings, and that's just fine. I just like the therapeutic nature of creating a card and then handwriting it, the personal nature of that, the way that communicates to people. And maybe it's a little old-fashioned, but I like it just the same. Here's a poem by Langston Hughes entitled Christmas Eve, Nearing Midnight in New York. The Christmas trees are almost all sold, and the ones that are left go cheap. The children almost all over town have almost gone to sleep. The skyscraper lights on Christmas Eve have almost all gone out. There's very little traffic, almost no one about. Our town's almost as quiet as Bethlehem must have been, before a sudden angel chorus sing peace on earth, goodwill to men. Our old Statue of Liberty looks down almost with a smile as the island of Manhattan awaits the morning of the child. Here's a poem written on December 24th, 1822 by Clement Clark Moore. Many know this poem with the title "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." However, the actual original title of the poem is A Visit from St. Nicholas. It 'twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care in the hopes that St. Nicholas would soon be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled in for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below. When what to my wondering eye did appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment he must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and he shouted and he called them by name.
Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen.
To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the corsairs they flew, with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke had encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump and a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word but went straight to his work and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him explain ere he drove out of sight,
Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Ho, ho, ho!
Here is a poem by Sarah Helen Whitman, written in December of 1866 and entitled Christmas Eve. Let fall the curtains, drop the shades, behind the hill the twilight fades. The sullen raindrops heavily in the dank, drooping hemlocks lie. The fir tree in the rounding park looms statelier through the gathering dark. And reddening in the starless night, the tall church windows blaze with light. The north wind whistles down the glades. Let fall the curtains, drop the shades. And while the fire's light, glowing gloom, cast fitful shadows through the room, gather around the ruddy blaze to welcome in the holidays. See Hades' dark brown eyes grow bright as diamonds in the dancing light, to hear the merry bells that ring in tall steeples, ding dong ding, while Rena's song sounds sweet and rare as music heard in mountain air, and Ethel with cheeks abloom goes dancing, dancing round the room, or softly lingers at my knee to watch the wondrous Christmas tree. Sweet Christmas Eve, the holidays may pass the firelight's cheerful blaze, die out the little waltzing feet, to other mazy measures beat, and other Christmas trees may spread their fragrant branches o'er my head, and fairy fruit for us all may fall in many distant bower and hall, and Santa Claus at Christmas tide may down the roaring chimneys ride, and chapel bells with solemn chime ring in the Christ child's holy time, and tell to all the wondering earth the mystic story of his birth. But memory long shall fondly dwell on this blithe eve at New Rochelle, and fairer deem our Christmas tree than all that have been or may be, and keep the birth night it embalms, sweet as the breath of heavenly palms. Here is a poem entitled Little Tree by E. E. Cummings. Little tree, little silent Christmas tree, you are so little, you are more like a flower. Who found you in the green forest, and were you very sorry to come away? See, I will comfort you, because you smell so sweetly. I will kiss your cool bark and hug you safe and tight, just as your mother would, only don't be afraid. Look, the spangles that sleep all the year in a dark box, dreaming of being taken out and allowed to shine. The balls and chains red and gold, the fluffy threads. Put up your little arms and I'll give them all to you to hold. Every finger shall have its ring, and there won't be a single place dark or unhappy. Then, when you're quite dressed, you'll stand in the window for everyone to see, and how they'll stare. Oh, but you'll be very proud. And my little sister and I will take hands, and looking up at our beautiful tree, we'll dance and sing, Noel, Noel. Written in 1923 by E. E. Cummings from his book Tulips and Chimneys. This is a poem by Robert Frost called Snowy Evening. Whose woods these are I think I know. His house is in the village though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Written in 1922 by Robert Frost and published in 1923 in his New Hampshire volume. If you're interested in picking up some last-minute gifts, please pop over to my Etsy site. I have very affordable original artwork for sale there. These aren't copies or prints. They're handmade drawings and paintings by yours truly. I also have a few copies of my field sketching book left, as well as the art and recipes book by the Underground Artists League. I'm adding new work to the site all the time, so stop by frequently and favorite the shop. Have a great holiday. So long for now. This has been Marty for owingsart.com.